Firstly, thank you everybody for being here today. I see a lot of familiar faces, so welcome back. And for those of you who've never been here before, welcome to the pool. I wanted to kickstart and let you guys know a little bit about my story here. I moved to Marbella in 1997 with my family. I've had the pleasure to grow up here and watch this place grow into what it's becoming today. Like most of the people that I've raised and grown up here, we've either studied or worked abroad, but something always seems to pull us back to Marbella. We can't really figure out what it is, but it's maybe just the quality of life, the sunshine, which today it's not really working in my favor, but you know what I mean. And more importantly, there's a special kind of charm here. I think all of us that either have visited or live here or have grown up here, we all feel it. And more importantly, the change that's happening here in Marbella. Being part of the pool the last 2 years has been absolutely incredible. To be able to share the vision of what Marbella can become and is becoming has been an amazing thing to be a part of, especially doing so by our next speaker, who I would like to introduce. We're going to kick things off now looking towards the future. Marbella is changing. So here to tell us more about that is our CEO of the pool, Christian Rasmussen. Please welcome Christian.
Well, it's a good thing you're applauding before, because I don't know if you will be after, but I'll do my best to make that happen. So yeah, thanks. Bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Imagine that the pool started a long time ago as just an idea, and now being able to stand here and see a full house, so many familiar faces, a lot of them new ones. But I'm really proud of how much people have actually joined our idea, and I was just talking with Nawal about this a minute ago. The pool had been operating for some time, and then all of a sudden we came up that, you know, we are actually working on something that's a lot bigger than the pool. It's Marbella 2.0. We're talking about Marbella in general. So from just a moment of epiphany to seeing this, it's a very special moment for me, so I want to thank you for that. Thank you. My mission right now is basically three things. One of them is obviously to talk about Marbella 2.0 is. Number two would be to tell you how you could join the movement once it's over. And also, I want you to know the story behind what Marbella is right now. And then obviously, I want to make sense of the rest of the event. So you know, while we've got people from the theater in Malaga sitting here with us, while you're meeting amazing people like Cristina and Linda and Ignacio and Yuval. So at least my story will make sense to the rest of that. So, we're here to talk about Marbella. Marbella 2.0. What is Marbella 2.0? Marbella 2.0 in a nutshell is to position Marbella for something else than just real estate and tourism. The way I see it is that obviously Marbella's always been, if it's up to me, I would say it's the best region to live, period. And that's what's been allowing this new influx of talent to come to Marbella. We've got that magnet, that attraction, and that's something we need to be thankful for. But all of a sudden we're thinking, okay, everybody's talking about the world is changing, Marbella's changing. So now all of a sudden Marbella is home to successful entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs, artists, etc., etc. So what happened there? Me, I've been here living in the area for 40 years. So yeah, I think a lot of you are thinking, oh, can Christian be over 40 years old? Well, yes, I am. I know that all of you are thinking that, but yeah, let me clarify that. Yeah, I am. And let me tell you that Marbella has been known for many things, but not necessarily for entrepreneurship. So what happened? I think I was kind of skeptic to the fact that Marbella did have this talent residing here. But then, let me tell you a story. I remember 4.5 years ago, Martin Wettergren, you're here somewhere, Martin? There you are. I still remember our first phone call. Martin called me out of the blue and said, Christian, I want to open a tech hub in Marbella. Okay, a tech hub in Marbella. You mean Malaga? No, in Marbella. Okay, interesting concept. So we met, we spoke. And the first thing we decided to do was to see if there is a market for this. Is there anybody who's interested in the tech industry here in Marbella? So we launched what we call the Marbella Tech Meetups. And we did it with amazing resources. We had the Meetup app, which was free. And we started creating this event, right? So the first event that I was involved with, we did it up at the university here in the MIUC. And the funny thing was that there were 3 things that impressed me from that event. The first one, the amazing level of the panel that we managed to put together. We had Andreas on the panel back in those days, angel investor, one of the most active angel investors in Europe. We had Juan Urdiales from Job and Talents, late Spanish unicorn founder, etc. And we had Iñaki Arrola from K-Fund. So I was thinking, wow, this is quite amazing, or something that you could do with just an app, right? And then all of a sudden, the second thing that impressed me was the amount of people that showed up. We had like over 100 people showing up. So I was like, okay, Christian, maybe you were wrong. Maybe Marbella, there isn't interest for this. But then the thing that most struck me was the profile of the people that I met in those events. I had done these kind of events before in Malaga, and there you normally, and in different places, but there you normally meet people, young junior programmers who are hungry, and you get like very junior positions and so forth. Entrepreneurs with ideas. But then the profile that I met here in Marbella was like on the other side. There were people who had already done that, people who had success, people who have exited, maybe had an IPO. And then I thought, wow, this is quite unique. From that moment onwards, I was on board. I knew that there was a need for this. And yeah, but why? Why all of a sudden do we have these entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs, investors, corporate executives? Why do we have them in Marbella? And I think there are some elements that we need to highlight. One of them is obviously, once again, after COVID, everybody started looking for this quality of life, right? Everybody's always wanted it, but now we don't want it when we retire. We want it before. So that's why people who could work remotely, because their job permitted it. So once again, we're talking about entrepreneurs, corporates, etc., who maybe had the chance to work remotely. Marbella was on the map. We add the quality of life that Marbella is known for, and the fact that we've got an airport that actually opens you to be in any part of Europe within a couple of hours. I think those are the key ingredients that have made Marbella what it stands for now. However, now we've established that we've got this new profile here in Marbella, but with the new profile comes new needs. Marbella had been catering for, as I said, tourism, and that maybe people can play golf. Now this profile is staying here to live. So all of a sudden, the requirements are different. And throughout these 4 years, we've been managing to talk to quite a lot of people. And the beauty of the things I've learned is actually, it's quite impressive, because obviously the quality of life is one of the things that people need. But then there were 3 others that I discovered. One of them was, funny enough, people think that in Marbella there is a lack of culture options. Art, culture, theater, etc., something of that is lacking. Number 2 was a place to network and do business. So that is one of the elements that we think that through the pool we've managed to achieve. And there's another angle that people, everybody think about, and to be honest, me as well. And I want this region to have something for my children. I want there to be opportunities for my children, and that is something that, honestly, today I think we've got the best primary schools. Maybe after that there's not so much they can do, and then job opportunities. So, maybe you don't know it, but I've already planted the seed for the rest of the event to come. So, what have we done at the pool? First of all, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the pool just turned 2 years old. I think it depends how you look at it. Sometimes you think, 2 years old, okay, that seems little. But then when you look back at everything that we've done, I think we've done quite amazing things. And that's all thanks to you guys, so I really appreciate that. And then one thing that we are doing, we provided the meeting place and the community that this new profile needed, right? So what we've done, we've created these labs by industry. So for instance, I don't know if Vicente Ortiz is here. No, can't see him. So he's the one running our blockchain lab. We've created a lab for longevity. Iris, I know you're here. So yeah, Iris is the one running our longevity lab. We've also created a lab for prop tech and real estate. Rodrigo, there you go, Sergey and Sebas are running that one. And then we've got Clinton, Cecilia, I know I saw you before. Cecilia, there you go, well done, and thank you for all the effort that you're doing. I know you're doing it together with Julio and Elin. We've done quite amazing stuff in that vertical, which was the first one we set up. I've seen you in the background, Adriana, you can't hide with that colorful shirt you're wearing today. We're putting together a Women in Business Club, which is going to be run by Adriana Rojas at the end. But I know we came up with a special name for it, Adriana. I don't remember what it was. The name of the vertical we came up for, Super Women Powered by AI. So that's going to be our Women in Business. So I think that name deserves an applause. We're also creating the Pool of Art, which the website will be launched relatively soon. And last but not least, the Pool of Talents, which is one of them that I'm particularly proud and excited about. And that is the one that's going to be focused on giving opportunities to our children here in the region. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you much more. This is the vision of Marbella 2.0, to work on the things that we consider that are lacking and to make an ideal place to do business. And if there are still any skeptics that believe that Marbella cannot be a place to do business or to build companies, I think Liz is going to bring to the stage a person that can prove you wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and the rest of the event is coming, so enjoy.
Thank you very much, Christian. I think he summed it up in a fairly decent amount of time this time around. I always tell him he talks too much, so today I'm really happy he stayed on cue. So, as he said, we have a very interesting guest today. From a bold idea to a global leader in AI and big data analytics, we're going to dive into the origin story of one of Marbella's biggest tech success stories. So please join me in welcoming Armando Gonzalez, CEO of Ravenpack. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start at the very beginning. What was the original spark or problem that led to the creation of Ravenpack?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was like one spark, right? And perhaps to the title of the event, this like doers and dreamers. I actually don't think there's much of a difference. Like first you need to be a dreamer, and then you're a doer. I think I was dreaming early on how technology can help us be better at understanding the world around us. And in the early stages of my career, I noticed how difficult it was to keep up with information. Like we were reading so much news, and I felt like we were in a society where we were overloaded back then, right? This was over 20 years ago. overloaded with information that I don't think as humans we were capable of really making sense of it. And I was noticing that more and more firms were investing in using back then AI, which was machine learning, neural networks, not the new modern Gen AI that you're more accustomed to try to make sense of that information for business value. And so that was the premise of the dream that I had, that we could build a machine that could understand information and act upon it and be smarter than us. And of course, it wasn't that easy back then. So we went through kind of the usual process of figuring out all the challenges that you would face in order to try to build such a machine, right? And it wasn't one spark, but it was, I think, just the belief that we could do this without knowing how, and then just trying.
I mean, you do have to attempt multiple times, right, before you get it right. So
that's an understatement, right?
thousands, hundreds of thousands of times.
I mean, it's just so crazy, right? As entrepreneurs, like when you get into it, again, you're dreaming. Like you're so excited about what you're going to do, and everything seems so easy in your mind. But when you have to actually get it done, you start realizing that you either lack the knowledge, right? Lack the experience, don't have the money, don't have the contacts, don't understand the market, don't understand the competitive space. You think you're the first one, but there's actually 100 other people that tried before and failed. And so there's a lot of like that learning process, and that learning curve is quite high.
I think it also takes a lot of discipline and a lot of perseverance from the people doing a startup or believing in a project in order to actually get it going and keep the wheels moving, keep that perpetual motion, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a realist, right, I don't think that works, right? Like you just have to accept that it's going to be tough, and you're going to go through a lot of hurdles, right, just to get to your dream, right? Sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of like psychological wrongness, right, in being an entrepreneur, because you have to be willing to take punches a lot, right? But eventually something works out, right?
I mean, some of the best boxers, you know, they don't have the hardest hits, are the ones who can take the most punches. So.
Right, that's right.
Okay, I'm going off topic. I'm sorry, everybody. Ravenpack's core idea is turning unstructured data into actionable insights. So how did that vision take shape in the early days?
All right, so maybe dissect that a little bit to make it simpler to understand. When we think about unstructured data, that's basically everything that people are writing. For instance, like all the messages that you share, or all the documents that you write, all the reports that people read, as well as images and graphs and all sorts of stuff, right? And when you think about it, if you're reading a document, for us humans, it's like super simple, right? We can go through it, and we don't really need an AI to summarize it necessarily. But when you're thinking about thousands and millions of documents, impossible for us to figure out what does it even mean. So if I'm looking for a trend or some new pattern that is emerging across all the information flow about Marbella, right? Now I want to understand, is Marbella 2.0 a good idea or not, right? If I ask Christian, he'll be absolutely freaking good idea, right? If you use big data, you'd actually go through every single document, every news story that has been written, probably run some polls and surveys, and just gather lots and lots of information, and then try to make sense of whether that idea is any good or not, right? And arguably, because I'm biased too, I would say absolutely the AI is saying Marbella 2.0 is the right thing to do, but here's how you do it, right? Here's how you execute and how you make that dream a reality.
I think most plans do need to have some sort of data to back it up as well, so having a product and a company like yours is in Marbella, born in Marbella, is fantastic to have on board for the Marbella 2.0 vision. So the team, how has it evolved since its creation back in 2003?
Right, so we started as just a few of us working from our apartments, right? The kind of usual story, one coding, one trying to come up with a business plan, others doing the marketing, like the usual stuff. And from a handful, what's interesting about Ravenpack's trajectory is that we built this company in a way that, I guess the journey was the most important part, right? So it wasn't about just like trying to build something and then raise capital and then go out there and grow and be the biggest company in the world, right? We were trying to solve the fundamental problem of creating a machine that could understand information and make sense of it. So that was the dream, and that was difficult, and it took a lot of different steps. But slowly, from 3 we grew to 5, from 5 we grew to 10, from 10 to 20, 20 to 50, and every single stage was special. right? It took several years, but you see a company grow from just hanging out, you know, at the apartment or at the pub, which we did a lot, right, in the early days.
All the best ideas, I'm sure.
All the best ideas came from that, right, and still do. But the good thing about it was that the stages were so interesting for us, and what I was trying to do, at least for my team, is just to live it, right? To like make sure that we're enjoying every moment. And again, I said it wasn't easy, but every moment was important, which meant that we could organically grow. And we bootstrapped the business pretty much our entire history. Like we didn't have to raise capital to succeed. We're just trying to make something work and then get revenue to pay for the development, right? Eventually, as the company grew to, we're almost 250 now. And it gets to a point where you need to get others to help you, right? If you want to go to the global stage and you want to enter new markets, that's where you need, you know, people that know more about finance and know more about investing and know more about growth than you do. And that's effectively the stage that we're in now.
I mean, I think it's quite an incredible journey that you've been on, and I'm sure you and your team are very happy to be able to look back and see everything that you've been able to accomplish so far. So back then, 2003, how did you feel about starting a tech/data company in Marbella? I mean, I also know and heard from a little birdie over there called Christian that they've opened an office in Madrid. So could you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so our journey is really more transatlantic than it is in Spain. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have a single customer in Spain. Not one. But we're an exporter, right? We build and export, right? And our journey was build the tech, proof the concept, and then go to the market where you can add value. And that market for us was New York, right? It's the tri-state area, as we call it, right? That's where all the banks and all the hedge funds operate. Because what we did was useful for financial analysis, and it was useful for trading, and we could get paid by providing good information. So that meant that our journey was Marbella to New York directly, and we opened our first business office in New York. And we've had it ever since. And what we've done more recently is realize that our Spanish roots are very much part of who we are. And we strongly believe in Spain and want to bet that Spain can be an international hub for research and development, which meant that Madrid for us was a logical expansion. So that talent that we can't bring to Marbella, because we got good at it. Like we're good at attracting talent, but not everybody wants to move to Marbella. Not because they don't like it, but they're married or the spouse can't find a job here, or the kids are growing up and they're going to school and there's family reasons for why it's just not practical. So there's a lot of talent in Madrid and Barcelona. And we thought, let's create a hub there to ensure that the locals can actually either enjoy the same kind of culture that we're building here with a Marbella connection 2.5 hours away by train, or start to build an ecosystem where even some of the folks in Madrid start to get accustomed to the culture and say, why not move to Marbella one day? And I actually have a few cases like that already where folks from Marbella are actually moving to Madrid and folks from Madrid are moving to Marbella. But to us, that hub, I think, is an important part.
Got to keep the balance, I think.
Exactly. And look, Madrid has a lot to offer, but Marbella has so many other, factors. And the reason why we're here in this particular city has grown intellectually, right? It was a tourist destination, and now you're having these types of events. So that's pretty neat. Madrid's always had this type of culture. So that's what makes it exciting, at least for me, in terms of where Marbella is going.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Armando. Thank you for sharing your journey, the insights about Ravenpack's overall start to where you are now, the impact, most importantly, that it's had on the global tech landscape. And all of this right here from Marbella, guys. It's one of the best success stories we've got, and we're very lucky to have Armando here sharing his journey with us. So thank you very much for your openness and your inspiration that you provided to the audience here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Our next guest is Nawal Roy. Some of you may know of him, but for those who don't, he's the CEO of Hallmusk. Nawal has actually been one of the visionary voices behind the Marbella 2.0 movement. He's been challenging us to think bigger, push boundaries, and reimagine what Marbella can become. With a global perspective, shaped by his work in healthcare, data science, and entrepreneurship, Noel brings insights that stretch far beyond our local context, but still feel very deeply relevant to the future that we're trying to build here. He's helped launch important conversations about the innovation, purpose, and long-term impact on Marbella, and we are very grateful to have him with us today. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Noel Roy.
She forgot the most handsome part. She said that I'm the most handsome guy out here going to be on the stage.
I like your t-shirt, Noel.
Let me give you a quick perspective, which is a perfect outsider compared to Armando, compared to Christian. I'm Noel Roy. I'm still not in Marbella. I have been visiting here for last 6 months, almost a week every month. And I really like what I see, okay? And it has been an amazing journey coming from, I'm born as Indian, left home at the age of 14, moved to US at 24, and since then I have worked in more than 30 countries and traveled more than 100 countries. It has been an amazing journey. I've spent approximately around 18 years in the world of finance. I started as a banker with Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank. And then I spent a good amount of time on the darker side of finance, which is in the consulting world, and then kept going to the darker. In 2015, I started a startup called Hallmusk. Without knowing anything about healthcare, I started a healthcare company, and 10 years into it, it is the largest data company focused on mental health, okay? And we managed to raise approximately around 105 million. We publish quite extensively. We work with NHS. We work with every pharmaceutical company in the world. What it tells you is, if you commit to a cause, what is possible. Things that you can dream and things you can build only by the sheer commitment and only by the sheer force of power of the goodwill and all the team and everything else they can put behind it. The first time I came to Marbella was in November of last year. And everything that I saw, I liked it, really liked it. The thing that stood out is it has 324 days of sun. It's either 324 or 314. And I said, wow, that is fantastic. But then everything else was equally not appealing. Tourism, real estate, good nightclub, good food. There are 30 other cities in the world that you can have that. And I started reaching out to a few people I started looking up, are there any growth component to it? Are there any innovation happening? Are there really cool people? And this is what is called cool. People who are building the future, not people who are consuming the society that has been built together. Reached out to a few people. Christian was very slow in responding, and I still hold it against him. But the gentleman, he might be here, Niels, he was very kind and he responded right away. And I came here and I talked to them and I really thought, wow, if this is what it is, this is possible in 2 years' time, think what is possible. And that is where I started pushing the theme of Marbella 2.0. I started saying, what can not think what it is, think what you can build in 10 years' time, okay? And that is where I started pushing the idea of Marbella 2.0. And as you can see, proudly wearing it, going to play a big part of it. And I seriously think that in 10 years' time, there is not only one Armando, but multiple Armando, okay? Junior Armando, and Super Armando, okay? But another factor that I must say is I'm a big fan of Picasso. And Picasso is a son of this land, okay? You have to really study the journey of Picasso as a dreamer and what he has truly achieved in the world of painting. This city can't be only Armando. this city is also built for Picassos. Okay? And you have to think from that perspective. Okay? That is how you can build a community. And the purpose behind the report is essentially to show you how this city is going to transform over the next 10 years' time. There is intent to be published a report on an annual basis so that you don't have to listen to me what I'm saying, but you can really study in the comfort of your house and everywhere else, and it can be truly distributed to anyone and everywhere else. That is my whole intent. I'm very, very proud to be here. I'm still not here, but you'll see me more often than you would like, And I am going to commit to, in a very serious way, to play a very active role in Marbella 2.0, whether as a perfect insider, but even if I'm staying outside, I will be playing a very serious role in this part. Very proud to be here.
Thank you very much, Nawal. He was referring to a report which, on our screens, there is a QR code that you can scan to download a report we've put together to know a little bit about the board, a little bit about who each board member is, and a little bit about the mission and vision of Marbella 2.0. So, up next, we have two women with incredible backgrounds, and they're shaping the future of business and tech right here in our community. So please join me in welcoming Linda Hoagland and Christina Pitarch to the stage, please. Incredible women here. I'm not going to take any more time. I'm going to let them tell you themselves what it is that they do. So if you can briefly share both of your backgrounds, key career milestones, and how they've led you to your current roles and what you're focusing on today. Christina, if you can start.
Yes, thanks for having me first, and thank you everybody for coming today. So my name is Christina Pitarch, and at the moment I lead the security team in Google for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We do it from here, actually, from Malaga, Marbella. My background, even if it sounds a bit weird, is I'm a lawyer, but I decided I didn't want to do photocopies for too long. So I kind of like changed the whole thing and got into tech pretty early. So I was one of the first hires in Google Cloud when Google Cloud was almost nothing. I think we were 30 people in Ireland. And since
almost
then,
12, 14 years
30,
now?
yeah, 12 years ago, yes.
Amazing.
So I seen it grow from scratch, basically. I was the first person doing security in Europe. That was only 5 years ago, even if it's 5 years for us is like so long. But basically 5 years ago, there was nobody doing cybersecurity in Europe in Google. Now we have a very big team. We've done a lot of acquisitions. And as you can see in the news every day, I imagine you wake up with cybersecurity stories every single day. So we are, hopefully, our mission is to give good people an advantage, fighting against the bad. And yeah, that's what we are doing from here.
Thank you very much, Christina. I'm sure the lawyer background probably helped in the logistical and strategic aspect of your work. Not just photocopies, I'm sure.
My mom said that I like to discuss everything. I think that's how I got into it, and I think that's how I kind of tend to be successful at work. It's just I don't take anything as for real, and I do have different ways of looking at things, but basically I work with mainly engineers. So I'm probably the only one that doesn't have an engineering background, which gives a different perspective, which I think is amazing in every type of business and teams. It's like having different people, different backgrounds, different perspectives.
So for anyone who's in a career that doesn't think it's for them, just bear in mind, if you just look at it from a different perspective, you might find something a lot more interesting that might get you up in the morning and have you more passionate about what you do.
And there are around 2 million opening jobs in cybersecurity in Europe at this moment. So if anybody wants to change careers, we're always open.
They have really good remote perks working from home, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Christina. Linda, if you don't mind, please I know it's going to be quite hard to sum it up, but if you could do your best, we would love to hear it.
I'll summarize. Yeah. So I'm Linda Hoagland. I'm from Sweden originally, but I have been living here for 8 years. So I have been part of this journey of changing Marbella, and first time in the pool when it was just really building up. So it has been super exciting. I have a background of being part of several growth stories and building companies in different phases. And I have been a long time in Klarna. So Klarna is from the Sweden and the payment company and nowadays bank. I have been there in the CFO role for quite a while, and then I came back in the COO role, and between there living in Singapore. So I've been part of that growth journey and super exciting, of course. I have also been a long time in the game development sector before that.
When you were in Singapore, that was for Grab?
Yeah, exactly.
Grab is, for those who don't know, it's one of the biggest ride-sharing apps in Asia, Southeast Asia. It's probably bigger than Uber, I would say.
Yeah. Over there, it's absolutely the biggest. And also, like in the game industry, I was CFO for a listed company for a long time, and then we were acquired by Electronic Arts. So I have a long background in game development that is also very interesting. And just to maybe add as well, I have been setting up a fund as well. So I have been combining an operational role that I really like and investments. So we were setting up a fund in 2017 where we saw a gap really between angel investing and Series A. And there was a gap there of companies that couldn't get funding or take them to Series A. So we started a fund in the Nordics called Luminar Ventures, where I'm still partly involved, not fully on that because I'm in an operational role, but I'm in the IC committee and taking some of the decisions for the investments at this point. But it's very interesting to combine the two, the investing and the operational scaling part.
I see quite a theme in all of the positions and roles that you've been in. I can see that you most likely don't get bored too often. You have enough on your hands, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you're still living here and able to enjoy your life here, so
Yeah.
it just proves it can be done. You can be an absolute powerhouse in your job and still be able to enjoy a place like Marbella. So thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. I have a question for Christina. So you've been with Google in Malaga for quite a time now. Amazing how long you've been there, and more importantly, how much you're shaping and moving forward with all the new technologies emerging and new threats emerging. It's very clear that you're driven by a very strong passion in cloud security. So the transformative potential for the businesses and the industries. What do you think, or what could you share, is Google's vision for Malaga, and how do you contribute in making that vision a reality?
I've been in Google for like 12 years, but in Malaga only for 2 years and a half. And I can explain a little bit how did it go, that decision of bringing cybersecurity team in Malaga, which is actually, Malaga is our center of cybersecurity for the whole Google. So, we had this very small company that we acquired called VirusTotal. That was like a startup set up in Malaga, brilliant group of people. They negotiated with Google extremely well. They say, you buy me, but I'm not living in Malaga. So that's it. So we were like, okay, so maybe we have to kind of set up an office in Malaga. For many, many years, it was very small. There was no investment. They were even living in a chalet, in a swimming pool, and working there. But then I came into the place, and we had this dream of bringing cybersecurity and making cybersecurity some center in Europe, because majority of the things were happening in US. So we wanted to bring it to Europe. And then we started thinking of which city would be. And then is when candidates start putting their hands up. No? So we had Lisbon, we had Barcelona. And at one point somebody mentioned Malaga. And obviously for me, that was so I started becoming kind of like the spokesperson for this project to come to Malaga. We had to convince a lot of Americans on this is why you have to come here. Mainly reason is actually very attached to what I mentioned before. We need a lot of people and we need a lot of talent, and it's not very easy to hire in other locations, and it's not very easy to convince people. However, convincing engineers, which are usually junior, are usually young, and convincing them to come to Malaga is not that difficult. And we had some experience. I even have in the office some people from Japan that came extremely expert in cybersecurity, which are so difficult to find, and that they were not accepting any offers to go to Dublin or London. But the moment we talked to them, I was like, Malaga? It's like, yeah, now I'm moving. So that was very important. It was cheap for the company because at the same time salaries are still cheap. The cost of living is attractive for the people, attractive for the families. And after a year and a half, it became a no-brainer. And now our dream is to keep on making of Malaga that center where when anybody thinks about cybersecurity, they think about Malaga. So the whole, like the best people in the world will be there. If you want to meet, you can go to Malaga. If you want to learn about how you do, and it's not only a Google thing. I think like we do have this project with majority of other companies which are also investing. Right now we are pushing as well to the Spanish government that they have to decide where to sit that cybersecurity center. And there are some cities that are kind of like candidates, and we want this to happen in Malaga. We want to make Malaga like the Mobile World Congress happening in Malaga. When I say Malaga, it's also Marbella attached, because obviously majority of us live in Marbella. But yeah, I think like that's the biggest dream. We have like a 3-4 years project in which we move everything. We have all this engineering power, we have all the learning, we keep hiring kids from school, we keep teaching the population how to be better prepared. And all of that is going to happen through Malaga.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, this whole region of Andalusia, especially the Malaga province, it has quite a lot of land. And for those who probably familiar or not familiar, for data centers, you need a lot of electricity, a lot of land, and good connection. And I think now, growing up here since before they had the Euros, the connection wasn't the best, nor was the internet, but it's getting better. And I think having Google forefront and put their cybersecurity hub here is kind of incredible.
Yeah, we just need more flights to the US. It's the only thing I'm asking. More flights, please. So I'm telling everybody, so if anybody has connections, just please get more flights to US, West Coast. And then we'll grow faster.
She really is the spokeswoman, you know? She's pushing out the remote jobs, she's pushing out for the flights. Thank you so much. So, like I said, two very successful and amazing, incredible women with me today. Going back to Linda, I have a couple more questions. Thank you again for sharing your background. You have such an impressive career, from Klarna to Grab to Electronic Arts to Luminar. I just wanted to know, with the CFO and COO roles, what would you say is the common thread and passion that led you to these roles?
Yeah, I think the common thread between all of this, and even in the investment roles, is I love to see the growth. Companies growing, being part of that journey, the ambition that you see in the dreams that you can create and then fulfill them together as a team. I love that, and the kind of path to achieve things. I would also say that in the different phases of growth, be a company of 50, 100 or 1,000, you have different challenges, of course, and I love also to figure out the different challenges in each phase. Coaching, I mean, either I'm the operational leader or kind of coaching entrepreneurs as well in that journey, and the different phases, scaling, going into new countries, becoming bigger, you have different type of challenges. So each phase is very interesting. And then maybe the last piece of it, which is also in the different roles of operations or investing, is to find the right balance between growth and control. So it's something that I'm thinking a lot about it, but also I've been speaking about it in different contexts, and how you continue to grow and make sure that the company has the right strategy, the right position, and also, of course, making it happen in terms of growth. But then on the other side, you need control as well, because if you only have the growth and the idea, you can kind of get out of path, so to speak. So in my role, either in the COO role or the CFO role, I see it as a dual responsibility to make sure that the company continue to grow, which I love, but at the same time controlling some of the things and it's kind of difficult sometimes to know exactly where to focus on the control side, what controls to put in, and what is the most important to focus on in each phase. But that's something that I love as well. So it's a challenge and a dual kind of focus that I really enjoy. So yeah, that's probably the common thread between the different roles.
CFO, COO. So the money and the operations. I mean, a lot of companies, we've probably read about it or know about it. They might have a great idea, they might have a great vision, but if they're hemorrhaging money in the wrong places, it's going to go bust. So having someone like Linda with her impressive background, I'm sure any company would be absolutely lucky to have her. I'm sure you have more things in the works that you're probably doing on the side, so I can't wait till the next time you can tell us what the next few companies you've been working for are going to be.
Yeah.
But more importantly, talking about the growth, I think this is why it was a no-brainer for you to join on board when Christian mentioned about Marbella 2.0.
Yeah,
First hand up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like I have been part of the movement even before the name, so to speak, and kind of deciding to move here 8 years ago, and we can speak more about that, why Marbella and so on, but I think this movement is very important for the region, and I'm super happy to be part of it, and yeah.
Very lucky to
drive it.
have you, Linda.
Yeah.
So, final question. You've both been to countless places around the world, but yet you've both chosen to settle here. I would love to know your reasons for choosing Marbella, and how do you think it will evolve in the future? Christina?
So, I spent 12 years of my life in Dublin. I think I deserved to come. And yeah, I mean, I think like, so when we had the opportunity as a family to think about where to live, obviously Marbella kind of like jumped. I'm from Madrid, but I was never in Marbella before. So it was like, it's a place that I never came for holidays or anything. So I didn't know it. So my husband and I, we came to do like a first inspection in the summer. We had a fantastic time. We left the kids with the grandparents, so you can imagine, it was like a great experience. And then we like three things. Like we like the schools, and that was kind of like one of the main points for us. We wanted to have a school that was still international. We didn't want to move our kids from a very kind of like Irish education and having the Spanish system, which is quite different. So we needed something that was either British or like that had that thing. We had a lot of schools around this area that could give us that answer. I like the fact that you could actually put your kids in any sport you wanted, and that was also important for me. I wanted them to keep on playing whatever they were doing at a high level, and at least have the chance to make it if they want. Even just, I find it amazing that we live in Marbella, and my little daughter likes to do ice skating, and she does it in Benalmádena. She can do it, which is like, which place in the world you can actually try to do almost everything you want to do. And of course, the moment we arrived here, I think the first 3 months, we realized it was the place for us. We met incredible people. We had a lot of friends. Everybody was so friendly. Everybody was kind of like so helpful. We have people that are exactly like we are, with that type of like international background, open mind, that accept any type of thing. And that's the way I want my kids to grow. I want my kids to grow understanding every single religion, race, countries. Almost all the friends of my kids are like, oh, my mom is from Mexico, my father is from Syria. And it's all like this. And when you tell this in Spain, it's very, very rare. So I think this is a gift that we're giving to them, and I'm really actually delighted that we make that decision.
I'm sure you didn't find that melting pot of people in Dublin.
I mean, Dublin was also, but like Dublin keeps being very Irish, which is great. I love the Irish culture, but I mean, that doesn't have this kind of everybody's international like it is here. Like some, but not everybody.
I'm pretty sure between all the audience members here, we probably have at least 40 nationalities minimum, right? Yeah, I can see a bunch of heads nodding. I'm not going to put him under the spotlight, but Christina's husband is also quite a powerhouse in himself as well, and that both of them being part of the Marbella culture, Marbella ecosystem, and Marbella 2.0 just shows you that the kind of profiles that are coming down here are not what you typically find in this region of the south of Spain. probably wouldn't even find these kinds of people all in one concentrated area in Madrid or Barcelona either. So Marbella is a very special place. It's an incredible place for families, for people looking for a change of lifestyle, and this is why I also wanted to get Linda's perspective. She has probably a little bit of a different take on her reasons, or slightly similar.
I think it's slightly similar. Yeah, I would say a few points. I mean, lifestyle, of course, we have already spoken about that a lot, but the sunshine and the nature and the mountains and the sea and all of that, and especially giving that to your children because they can be out all year doing sport and all of that. So that was an important part of the evaluation. I think also the connectedness to the world was another one with the airport, a lot of flights to London and to Sweden, where I'm from, and so on. Also the openness in the international culture, like you mentioned, the connectedness to the world, I think is important. Another one for me was infrastructure like schools, so having really good international schools for the children and so on. And then the last one, of course, like business, because I like, yeah, as mentioned, to grow companies and continue to work with that. So you can have a lot of companies here, and I think it's coming, a lot is changing, and startups and so on. But it's also about the potential and the drive, and I think I have always felt that in this region, that the potential is here, and the drive is here, and the vision, so to speak. So now we are kind of making it happen in general, but also with this movement, and I'm super happy for that. But it has kind of always been there, I feel. So that was another one which made it for me the best place in the world to live, and that's why I moved here. Yeah.
I think many of you in the audience probably share similar stories. A lot of you guys, at least most of our members from the pool, have had some similar reasons for moving from their respective Northern European or external countries outside of Europe. So again, Marbella there's something special about this place. We all can feel it, we all know it. Can't quite put our finger on it, but we all know that there's something about this place. And like Linda and Christina said, the resources, quality of life, international schools, everything's right here. So, ladies, thank you so much for sharing your information and journeys and life stories and all your plans going forward. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next up, we have the Pool of Talents. It's going to be moderated by Dakota, and we have Ignacio and Yuval having a little chat to let you guys know what this is all about.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dakota Flaggett. I am a student at Marbella International University Center, and I study international relations and politics. And I am a new member of staff here at the pool, and I'm just having a blast. It's been really cool to have such a great opportunity and to be here already. Like, I recently, again, I'm a new member, so and to already be doing such a great event like this, I am so excited. So without further ado, I would like to introduce a group that's very dear to my own heart and part of how I got here, and that is the Pool of Talents with Yuval and Ignacio. So please welcome them. Hello, guys. So, would you guys mind doing a little introduction of yourselves here?
Sure, I'll start. So, hello, everybody. My name is Yuval. I am a senior student at the British International School of Marbella. I'm finishing my last year. I'm studying right now economics, maths, and physics. And starting in September, I'm going to be studying at the University of Chicago in the US, which is ranked, majoring in economics, which is ranked 4th currently globally. And I'm very excited to be here and to speak with all of you today.
Hi, my name is Ignacio. I've been living my whole life between Marbella and Madrid. For the last 3 years, actually building companies here, involved with several people that I can see. And it's, of course, my pleasure to be involved in the pool of talents, and in the movement of Marbella 2.0.
Thank you guys so much for coming today. So, essentially, the Pool of Talents, Yuval, you're kind of our guy here. So what is the Pool of Talents, and how did this idea come around here in Marbella?
Well, to cut it short, well, not short, but the Pool of Talents, the way I see it at least, it is a way to facilitate and interconnect the young student body that's here in Marbella, that's developing and already quite large. Marbella is one of the most dense regions in Europe, if not on the planet, in terms of international schools. We have 15 here, which is incredible. So many, talented young people who are well-traveled, very educated and very motivated and driven, with the emerging business community, which is growing here at the pool. So to take you back to the start of the Pool of Talents, not very far. It was about November, December 2023, and I was, in my second penultimate year of school, looking for internship opportunities, meaningful internships that I could get prior to university. And I realized that there's no opportunities, unfortunately. And 2 months after that, our school organized a field trip to the UK where we visited a multitude of universities, specifically LSE, that I was fascinated by. And one of the professors there gave us a lecture, actually, and a workshop where we had to devise our own business plan. And with that in mind, I devised a business plan for an app which would connect students with firms here in Marbella. And he told me it was very stupid and would not work. And then just 2 weeks later, I was able to meet Christian, I was able to meet Frederick, and our co-founder Carlotta, and now we're here, so joke's on him.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So that's our student origin story. So, right, we're trying to connect those businesses so with students. And so, Ignacio, you are more recent joining, but you're on the business side of things. So what drew you to the Pool of Talents, and what was your interest there?
Actually, I got introduced by the Pool of Talents by Carlota's mom, Maria, in a meeting in Madrid regarding another company. And I did realize that there was something in common there. I've been involved in several companies here in Marbella, and I've always found it difficult to actually find the kind of young talent that feeds those companies in the beginning. And as a matter of fact, the talent is there. I mean, we've met them. It's Yuval, it's Carlota, it's Lily. They're there. It's yourself. But I think we were lacking the bridge or the interconnection of the gap between those businesses here in Marbella, both startups and long-time businesses, and that talent that is sitting in the high schools, in the universities here, and we needed to connect that somehow. So I, of course, joined happily, more or less, 6 months ago, to help the team.
Amazing. Thank you, Ignacio. So we've kind of got a little background now on our key players here on the Pool of Talents. So where is the Pool of Talents right now? And what does it offer to our students and then also our companies?
Well, right now we're at the MVP stage, but to look at its core, we start with the facilitation of internships. So we go to all the best schools, all of the schools here in Marbella, especially the internationals, and we try to gather up as much of the young talent as we can. We try and look at their interests, we interview them, we build a profile, and then on the company side, we try, build a profile on what sort of companies there are here in Marbella and what sort of interns they're looking for, and we try to essentially match-make the two of them. So that's our first thing. Second thing is mentorship. There's a lot of, young talents here, bright minds who want to, enter the entrepreneurial world, and they have all these creative and brilliant ideas, but they don't have any idea on where to get started. They have no idea on what a business plan looks like, P&L statements and all of that. So we try be the very first stage so they can come to us, give us a basic rundown of their idea, and we try put some structure behind it, and eventually we try hope that leads to some sort of pitches here in Marbella. And third, we do trainings. So whether it be trips to Malaga, we want to go to Google, so that would be great. Aside from that, we also do, we try and train young people here on their hard skills and their soft skills. So whether it be public speaking or interviewing skills, or for example, coding skills, we try and tackle all of those to make the people here in Marbella more employable, and that's essentially it.
Yeah, as Yuval was saying, we're in a very MVP phase still, and what we're trying is to understand both what the talent is requiring, if what they're requiring is more internship-based or mentorship-based, or what they want is more of a workshop kind of thing. But we do have a vision on a 5-year, on a long-term basis of trying to be the source of talent for all those businesses in Marbella that are here already and are going to come in many years.
And of course, I'm a university student here, and that's really dear to my heart in connecting these types of opportunities and internships like here at the pool and things like that with education, because I feel like the future of business is also the young people here, and it's your guys' kids, and it's the people who are moving here for studies and the people who are wanting to move here and have kids and stuff like that. And so knowing that there's supports like this and people who are setting up systems that are going to be so critical and valuable to your future and our future, I think that's spectacular. As a little last wrap-up question for you guys, do you guys have any fun success stories so far, and what's next for the Pool of Talents?
For sure. I mean, I can think of several, but I know we mentored already two really cool ideas from Arman and Dominic that came to our first event. Then I can think of Natalia, who got the perfect internship for her in a marketing agency. And I want yourself to speak about your own success story, which I consider a success story because you're here through the Pool of Talents.
Well, okay. My first experience here at the pool was actually for the Pool of Talents event that they invited all the MIUC students here. It was like 2 days after all the flooding in Valencia, in case you remember that. It was a bit stormy weather, but we were able to get over here, and it was really cool. And I imagined, I was like, this is just a spectacular space. I almost wished I was already at that working levels just so that I could have an excuse to work here. And then I had the pleasure of meeting Christian not long after that through some meetings at my university, and it was just really cool, and it seemed to really make sense for me. And now I'm here and I'm interviewing these lovely people here, and I get to talk in front of such a lovely crowd. And I think these are some really, really cool experiences, and I would wish this for all of the future of Marbella, if they could have similar experiences and have experiences that are catered to them and their goals in life individually, which is, I think, what the Pool of Talents does so beautifully. Any last parting words and like what the future of the Pool of Talents is?
Well, with the future, no pressure, but it starts with all of you. We're going to need all your help as much as we can get. So if you need any interns or anybody that can work for you in any way, shape, or form, please reach out to us. We're looking to help everybody. You know, it's double-sided. If we can help you, it'll definitely be helping the students as well. So please reach out to us, and we'll make something work. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you guys all so much. We still have one more spectacular act, and it's not to say anything bad or good or anything. I don't want to spoil it. But last thing, please, I'm so serious, talk to them. I cannot give you guys the advice. And I know I'm young, I'm here. You guys are all the people who should be giving me advice. But if there's one thing I can advise you on is to talk to these two. This is seriously going to be laying the foundation for the future of Marbella and setting up Marbella to continue have success, and let this huge group here not just be a one-time opportunity, and let this be a generational thing. So thank you.
Guys, honestly, I think that deserves another applause. These guys are amazing. I hope that my initial babble about these things, now you start to make sense. Okay, while we got the Pool of Talents, while I was talking about opportunity for the kids, etc., etc. So it starts to make sense. One last ingredient that I would like to add, because we have been quite a lot focused throughout the history of the pool on tech. We're more tech entrepreneurs and so forth. But I want to bring a different ingredient to the table. And relating to my initial talk, we always say when we come to Marbella, we need more culture. So to that topic, I would like to ask you to put your hands together to welcome Javier Hueso, who's going to be talking about the theater in Malaga. Hello, Javier. Funny enough, he will tell you more about it, but just so you know, Javier was really nervous about talking today, and he's an actor. So you'll get to hear more about it, but it's a different thing where you're portraying somebody else than opening up yourself. So Javier, welcome.
Thank you.
Javier, if you don't mind, I would like people to get to know you a little bit better. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm Javier Hueso.
and I work at my uncle's theater in Malaga.
And your uncle is?
It's, well, he's a man of many faces. He's known for Zorro and Puss in Boots. Yeah, basically, I'm Antonio Banderas' nephew. Thank you.
So yeah, sorry I interrupted you, but,
no, it's okay, it's okay.
Tell us a little bit about
I work
yourself.
at his theater. It's Teatro del Soho, CaixaBank in Malaga. And I'm part of the communications team. I help with social media, press. I also coordinate an app that we're creating for the theater with Sergio and Pat, who are also among us today. And yeah, I'm also an actor, so I try to bring that perspective to the table as well.
Well, I'm going to ask you more about the theater, but
Okay.
I'll give you a little bit of an intro. Precisely, we were talking about this Marbella 2.0, so we wanted to get more culture involved and so forth. So we put together a pool of art, and we're with Nicole, who's probably here somewhere, putting together like an actors club as well. So we're doing that, but then I've been over at the theater a couple of times, and every single time I've gone, I've been impressed of what you're doing. Last time I was there, they were doing a show for children to train them how to appreciate theater. And I was like, okay, yeah, nobody teaches you how to appreciate theater, what to look for, how it works. So I was really impressed with that. And then now you're working on an opera. Probably he would probably be the person to talk to say that. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about the theater and what it does.
Yeah, so, well, as you were saying, we have an initiative that it's called Soho de los Niños, which it will be Soho for the kids. Although we're changing the name now to maybe something like Soho Educativo, like educative Soho, because it's not only focused on kids. And the idea, the goal is to build new audiences and to reach out, especially for younger people, and give them tools to understand theater. Because we think that if you understand something, you are more connected to it. So that's kind of our goal with this initiative. And yeah, so the theater, it's a project, it's a very personal project of my uncle. So it's his vision, and our vision as well, from the start was for the theater to be a gateway for culture, to get people interested in it. So we see theater as a bridge that connects people, ideas, places, kind of like in line of what this is all about, right? And yeah, to support that, we created the Antonio Banderas Theater Foundation to go beyond the stage and into education and everything.
I always loved, obviously you were mentioning Antonio's idea, which is to unite the society through culture, was one of the approaches. But then also I don't know much from the theater world, but I was impressed with you guys how, you want to, you really try to connect. I mean, you've been, you told me about the buses that you were doing for all the villages, so you don't think it's just for Malaga, although the theater is based in Malaga. So I was really impressed with that, because you do that, right? You do send like buses and so forth for people to be able to come to the theater.
Yeah, we send buses to like maybe Ronda, Fuengirola. We even send buses here in Marbella to bring people to the theater to see a show, and then we bring them back. Of course. And yeah, we're also trying we see the theater as a place for Malaga to connect with the world and vice versa. So we are trying to bring, like, we brought directors from Broadway, we brought producers from the UK, we brought dancers from Scandinavia, and even acrobats from all around the world. And that's what we are trying to build, to reach out.
It's really interesting. It's nice to see, because obviously when it comes to your uncle, I've always thought that, the number one defender of Malaga, regardless of where he is, you hear him talking in Silicon Valley, he always mentions Malaga. Malaga's really close to his heart. I always admired him, and I still remember one of the speeches he did. I don't remember if it was at the Oscars or the Golden Globes or something like that. They were talking about the difference at those times with what he saw in the education in Malaga versus the mindset in Silicon Valley, for instance, and all that. So it's something that really stuck with me. So and now to see him like really focusing, because I mean it is truly his baby, right? I mean he is really focused with the theater.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he really does dedicate a lot of time. I mean when he's in Malaga, he's at the theater. It's not something just side business that he has. Like he's
he
really
always
focused.
said that the theater is not a solo project because we need an audience. Without an audience, there is no theater. So his focus is that, so educating people to come to the theater and enjoy it and engage with it.
And as part of that, and all you guys are trying to open theater to everybody. And one of your projects I really liked, which is called Tickets for Everybody, Tickets para Todos.
Yeah.
Would you mind explaining what it's about?
Tickets para Todos is our new initiative that we are working on to make it a reality still. And basically, we believe that access is important. So if we want the theater to be truly open, it needs to be affordable and inclusive. So through this program, we are trying to create opportunities for people to come to the theater. Maybe families that financially they don't have it easy to go to the theater, or students that want to go to study the performing arts. Through this initiative, we're trying to support that.
He's too gentle to say it, but in a way, you're going to see the QR code once the event is done. What we want is you guys, if anybody can, to sign up and sponsor tickets for people who can't really afford it to actually get access to culture and to theater. So that is what we stand for here right now. I'm really appreciative of that. And I think from my side, that's it. Something else you want to add?
We actually have a surprise, because when we talk about to my uncle about this event, he actually got very excited, but he's in Madrid, so he couldn't be here. And he sent us a video. So,
Artem, would you mind?
Cue the video.
Hello to the members of the pool. I am very thankful that you actually are here in Malaga to invest, which is something that I am doing too. We are doing something together, you see. And I am very thankful too that you think in terms of art, theater, music, and I hope that in the next weeks we can just share some time together. And I will offer you just to come to this place, which is my home and is, my dream. See you soon. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from us. Thank you for your time. Thank you.